I never thought I'd be standing in small claims court at 8:30 on a Tuesday watching an HOA president's face turn 3 different shades of purple. I was sipping my iced coffee while Judge Harrison examined my property deed like he was defusing a bomb. "Mr. Palmer," he said, "according to these documents, your property sits on Mockingbird Circle, east of Elmidge Drive. Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor," I replied. He turned to the plaintiff, Rebecca Garrison. Her perfectly styled blonde hair seemed to deflate. "Miss Garrison, your own charter states that Maple Heights only includes properties west of Elmidge. So, is Mr. Palmer a member of your HOA?" Rebecca gasped like a fish. "Well, he should be." The judge's gavel came down so hard the water glasses rattled. "Case dismissed with prejudice. Miss Garrison, you are fined $500 for a frivolous lawsuit. And I'm forwarding this to the county for investigation of misconduct. My name is Daniel Palmer. I'm a software developer. I value 3 things: quiet coffee, the freedom to paint my door any color I want, and being left alone." 2 weeks after that hearing, the Maple Heights HOA was officially dissolved. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Last year, I bought a house on Mockingbird Circle. I specifically checked, no HOA. I wanted the freedom to install solar panels without a committee of suburban dictators breathing down my neck. For 6 months, it was bliss. I painted my door turquoise. I planted wildflowers. I put a dragon-shaped weather vane on my garage. Then Rebecca Garrison moved into the development across the street and got elected HOA president. Rebecca was aggressively enthusiastic. She marched around with a clipboard and a ruler. And then, she noticed my house. The first letter cited me for uncontrolled vegetation and a whimsical architectural element, the dragon. I wrote back politely, "I'm not in your HOA. Here's my survey. Have a nice day." 2 days later, she was on my porch at 7 a.m. She wore a blazer with an HOA president pin so large it could be seen from space. "Mr. Palmer, we need to discuss your integration." "Integration?" I asked. "I'm not part of your HOA." "A mere technicality," she said, thrusting a 50-page packet at me. "Your nonconformity affects the ecosystem." The packet included $175 monthly dues and a list of approved colors that were all depressed beige or overcast gray. I handed it back. She stuck her foot in my door. "The HOA has ways of dealing with difficult neighbors, Daniel." Over the next month, it was a reign of terror. Daily notices for bird feeder hung at an incorrect angle. Garden hose coiled counterclockwise. Trash cans at the curb, 3 minutes too early. Then she brought me a petition. 60% of area residents support integration. I looked at the sheet. "Rebecca, there are 12 signatures here. There are 100 houses in this area." "It's 60% of those surveyed," she countered. "You surveyed 20 people." She didn't care. She started community improvement walks, where she'd lead a group of followers to stand on the sidewalk in front of my house and loudly discuss my property's deficiencies. She called the city about my dangerous bees. The inspector came out, complimented my garden, and left. She called animal control about my bird feeder. They told her to find a hobby. Then, she made her fatal mistake. She sued me. She filed in small claims for $3,850 in accumulated fines. My neighbor, a retired lawyer named Tom, nearly fell over laughing. "Daniel, she's essentially admitting in a court of law that she's been harassing a non-member." But Tom had a bigger question: where did she get the money for the lawyer? Back in the courtroom, after the judge dismissed the case, he looked at Rebecca. "Miss Garrison, did you use HOA funds to pay for this lawsuit?" She stammered. "The board approved it as a necessary expense." "To sue someone outside the association?" The judge shook his head. "Miss Garrison, you might want to hire a criminal defense attorney. This looks like fraud." The county investigation moved like lightning. It turned out Rebecca wasn't just overzealous, she was a thief. $3,000 of HOA money spent on a beautification consultant that was actually her own backyard landscaping. $1,500 for board meetings that were just her dining alone at expensive restaurants. And she hadn't filed state-required reports in 2 years. The HOA was operating illegally. The residents had finally had enough. They called a special meeting to dissolve the association. The vote was 73-12. Rebecca stood up and shouted, "You'll regret this when your property values plummet." Someone yelled back, "The only thing plummeting is your reputation, Rebecca." The district attorney filed charges. Rebecca pled no contest to fraud.
6 months probation.
200 hours of community service, financial literacy, ironically. Restitution of $8,500 to the residents. Banned from any HOA board for 10 years. Standing there as the judge read the sentence, the suburban dictator finally crumbled. She stood frozen, unable to believe her reign was over.
As for me, my house is still turquoise.
My dragon weather vane still points toward the wind. And my wildflowers are currently full of those dangerous bees the city inspector likes so much. Mockingbird Circle is quiet again. People walk their dogs, they paint their doors whatever color they want, and nobody carries a ruler.
The best part?
Last night, I saw Rebecca outside. She wasn't carrying a clipboard. She was just pulling weeds in her own yard, looking at my blue door.
She didn't say a word.
She just went back to her weeds. Freedom is a beautiful thing.